WABC New York, WRCR Haverstraw, and 107.1 WLIR Hampton Bays.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Wednesday, July 22nd. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Clouds this morning, peaks of sunshine this afternoon, high 86. Tonight, overnight, a few clouds, low 66, and then Thursday even nicer, sunny, high 85. If you are walking out the door with us right now, 73 and cloudy in Great Neck out on Long Island. It's 70 and cloudy in Bloomingdale over in New Jersey. And it's 73 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
Yes, Dorothy, that was a tornado that hit New Jersey. A town on Long Island battles back against the opening of a Muslim boarding school. There's been another Legionnaires' death on the East Side. Mayor Mamdani can't stop talking about Bibi Netanyahu. And how did those illegal immigrants really end up on the voter rolls in the Garden State? All right, let's get into it at 5:04. Yeah, 2 confirmed tornadoes in New Jersey yesterday. 1 touchdown in Stanhope, Sussex County. The other touchdown, Parsippany, Troy Hills. That's in Morris County. National Weather Service going to send survey crews to those areas today to investigate, determine their ratings. Stanhope police say most of the damage there was contained to major roadways. No injuries reported in connection to the tornado, but it was frightening for everybody.
All I heard was the wind. The wind just came out of nowhere, and it just was like going everywhere. I was inside, and I just saw the storm like take off, and it was crazy. The wind was like picking up. It came out of nowhere. I mean, this is the first time I've ever actually seen one, so it's crazy.
Yeah, the other tornado, Parsippany Troy Hills, the Morris County Office of Emergency Management. Their 911 operators actually watched this twist.
The operators were all actually looking out the window at the time and did see the rotation. But we're certainly grateful that we didn't have the type of volume that we had on the last storm.
Yes, so there was damage to some homes, but again, no injuries. That's the good news. And then for everybody else, it was intense winds, flash flooding in Dover over in New Jersey. Drivers found themselves suddenly surrounded by high water yesterday.
Cars were starting to pull under the underpass, and we realized something was wrong. We saw those trees down on top of those cars and slowed down.
Yeah, one of those funny moments, the CBS News senior transportation correspondent, he was on a plane coming to Newark Liberty, but it got diverted because of the tornado warnings yesterday, so he reported from the air.
Absolutely bruising day for flyers trying to get in and out of the Northeast. My flight to Newark is diverted to Philadelphia, in part, the captain says, because the Newark Tower was evacuated because of a potential tornado risk.
Yeah, so flash flooding, severe thunderstorms. They left 2 cars completely submerged in floodwaters up in Westchester today. This was underneath the Palmer Avenue overpass for the Bronx River Parkway, which seems to always get flooded, even if it's just a mild amount of rain. But this was a lot in a very short period of time.
I figured, this exact place is going to be flooded and everything. I saw some of the rubble on the roads and everything. So it's been hectic. Kind of expected it with, the heavy rain.
Bronx River swelled past its banks, swallowed large portions of the roadway, the parkway. It seems to have all sort of moved away, left garbage, of course. 2 cars trapped amid that. They saw the water just heading downstream faster than the traffic could escape to higher ground. Then in Yonkers, they were hit pretty hard yesterday as well. In fact, people were commenting about how hard the rain was falling. Well, again, just this short thing. This is what most people saw. A very short period of time. Really hard rain. Really intense winds. And, of course, they were worried about a tornado because we were all getting those tornado warnings yesterday.
Couldn't even see out the window. It was so heavy. Gutters were overflowing.
We were driving in it. We could barely see. Around 11:30, right around there.
Man, that same neighborhood, some people who use a sump pump in their basement were hoping that it would help them out yesterday amid the floodwaters, but then the power went out, so you need power to run a sump pump.
If you have a sump pump, it's not going to work because it needs power to, have a sump pump working. So unless you have a generator... you're not going to have any power.
Now, we're seeing some scattered power outages across the tri-state. No major numbers coming in, but there are some people who lost it yesterday waiting for it to come back on. And then when we look at the totals of rain across the tri-state, you realize how affected these towns were, some of the small ones. Terrytown got 5 inches of rain yesterday. Central Park, we didn't even get an inch of rain, and we thought we were going to get hit bad. We did not, but portions of Queens got a fair amount. And in New Jersey and some of those places that were hit by tornadoes and Stanhope, 3 inches of rain, and Sparta, 3 inches of rain. Of course, today will be a day to clean up the muddy mess that is left behind. Right. WABC News Time, 5:10. A Queens mom found stabbed to death early yesterday. Her husband's body was found hanging from a tree in a nearby park in what is suspected to be a murder-suicide. 34-year-old Mary Golden was found stabbed in the back at her home on 41st Street, right near 19th Avenue in Astoria. This was about 1 o'clock yesterday morning, and then about 6 hours later, her husband, Joseph Azzarato, was discovered hanging from a tree in nearby Astoria Park. Now, the couple left behind an 11-month-old boy. He was recovered by one of Golding's friends after Azzarato called her and confessed to the killing. And the neighborhood, of course, rocked by this.
We don't really know the people over there, but it's so sad to hear, that it's very tragic.
Yeah, an employee at a neighboring auto body shop in Astoria says Golding and Azzarato had just moved to their basement apartment from Pennsylvania about 2 months ago. But they say Azzarato quickly had developed a reputation in the neighborhood for being crazy. In fact, they recalled an instance where Azzarato had physically fought with a repo man who was trying to take their car away. 5:11, let's go overseas. President Trump says Iran desperately wants to meet, even as the U.S. and Iran intensified their attacks overnight.
One of the first things we did early in the administration, they would have a nuclear weapon, and you wouldn't have Israel, and in my opinion, you wouldn't have various other countries in the Middle East. They'd all be gone.
Yeah, this comes as the U.S. has conducted strikes on Iran for 11th straight night. 3 U.S. soldiers killed in Iranian attacks on bases in Jordan and Iraq over the weekend. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard claimed that its aerospace force used cruise missiles to destroy Amazon's central data infrastructure, that's in Bahrain, in an attack that also targeted U.S. air defense systems. But President Trump says Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, and he says they're going to stay there until they make sure that doesn't happen.
So if we left right now, it would take Iran 20, 25 years to rebuild. Okay? And we're not finished at all. But if we left right now, it would take them a long time, years. Iran nuclear deal done by Barack Hussein Obama, I terminated that. If I didn't terminate it, you wouldn't have Israel right now because they would have had a nuclear weapon years ago.
Now, yesterday, the president welcomed in the Lebanese president, Joseph Ayoun, to the Oval Office. Talk about what's happening there.
We're going to solve a lot of problems. We've already solved some of them for Lebanon.
Yeah, so the two discussed the ongoing threat from Iran-backed Hezbollah, which is in control in parts of Lebanon. And Ayoun then pressed President Trump on Israel's withdrawal from Lebanon.
It's been a very badly treated place and country, and we're going to have it properly treated and treated with respect that it deserves.
And then Pentagon now says more than 100 U.S. service members have been injured since the U.S. restarted strikes against Iran earlier this month. More on that from News Nation's Corey Smith.
Department of War saying a vast majority of those injuries are minor concussions. We've heard a lot about missile and drone attacks on U.S. bases. Minor concussion, but that is still a brain injury. The spokesperson went on to say that about 96% of those service members who have been injured have returned to duty and are eager to get back in the fight.
Now, the Department of War says U.S. Central Command is not required to release information about injured service members. And here's what we know from the last 12 hours or so. U.S. bombs ran for 11th consecutive night. Tehran launches more retaliatory attacks overnight on Bahrain, Kuwait, and Jordan. President Trump again on social media threatening to attack a suspected Iranian nuclear site called Pickaxe Mountain. He says that could happen pretty soon and very heavily, prompting Tehran to threaten an expansion of the war in the entire region. And then you have the mediators who are trying to stop this thing. They're stepping up efforts to stop the hostilities. Iran's interior minister holding talks today with Pakistani officials, including an army chief there in Islamabad, as they try to come up with a deal to stop this thing before it really continues to escalate. And then back here in the U.S., you had the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, testifying yesterday about Iran war funding before the Senate. He says they need more money. $88 billion supplemental funding request, he says, is critical to America's military readiness across the board. There was a back and forth between him and senators in Congress yesterday, one of them, Dick Durbin. Here's Dick Durbin and Hegseth yesterday.
I don't know what Lloyd Austin did for 4 years. I really don't. Well, I'm sure the amount of neglect, the amount of stale thinking and bureaucracy, it was staggering when we took over. So one big, beautiful bill gave us a chance to get caught back up.
Let me interrupt your speech for a minute, Mr. Secretary. It's my turn to ask questions.
Yeah, it was kind of like that all morning long. Democratic Washington Senator Patty Murphy questioning Defense Secretary Hegseth about all the money being spent on the war.
We've been in control of moving traffic through there for quite some time. Will they retain the ability to recklessly shoot at commercial shipping? And that's what happened. We had a ceasefire, and then they shot at commercial shipping recklessly. Also said.
Yeah, so the ongoing war with Iran has cost taxpayers an estimated $37 billion in direct military spending, that according to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. In a moment, we'll head over to South Carolina, where plans to honor the late Senator Lindsey Graham have been revealed. We'll get into that in just a moment. For first 5:15, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Good morning, Justin Ellick.
Good morning to you, Noah Maladen. Start out here in Milwaukee. Zach Thornton earned his first career win by combining with three relievers on a four-hitter as the Mets blanked the Brewers 4-0 to split the first two games of a three-game set. Jared Young and Luis Robert Jr. homered for New York, with Robert's solo shot being his first since missing nearly 3 months with a back injury. Backed by terrific defense, Thornton allowed 3 hits and 1 walk while striking out 2 over 6 innings. In his fourth major league start, it was his second consecutive scoreless outing for the 24-year-old left-hander, who has thrown 18 straight shutout innings, the longest streak by a Mets rookie since Steven Matz went 19 innings in 2016. Luke Weaver, Brooks Raley, and Devin Williams each pitched 1 inning of relief. Up next for the Mets, Christian Scott will start against Brewers righty Logan Henderson in this afternoon's rubber game series finale. First pitch from Milwaukee is scheduled for 2:10 p.m. In the Bronx, the Yankees and Pirates got postponed last night, and we'll play a day-night doubleheader today to make up for the washout. Garrett Cole will get the start in Game 1 against Pittsburgh righty Mitch Keller, set for a 1:05 p.m. first pitch from Yankee Stadium. Game 2 scheduled for 7:05 p.m. first pitch tonight. And yes, indeed, the lefty Max Fried set to make his return from that bone bruise in his left elbow. So how about that, Nolan?
That's a big deal.
1:05 p.m., you get to see Garrett Cole pitch for the New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium. And then at 7:05 p.m. tonight, you get to see Max Fried pitch for the New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium.
Maybe even bigger than that, tonight is Harry Potter bobblehead night.
I cannot believe you actually just said that into a microphone that's on the air, on live.
You know where I learned that from?
Yeah. When?
I was listening to Craig Carton yesterday. He was talking about it.
Oh, so then it must be a big deal.
Yeah.
But how about that 1-2 punch? That'll be an exciting day out at the stadium against the Pirates there. And we're getting ready for football as well. We'll have some sound today on the morning show. Head Coach Harbaugh talking to his New York Football Giants, getting ready for a training camp, officially opening Tuesday of next week. Rookies reporting earlier, starting tomorrow. As for the Jets, rookies will report on July 25th in just 3 days, followed by veterans reporting on the 28th. That is your Sports Noah, man. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
Plans to honor the late Senator Lindsey Graham, they have been revealed. The Hill's Blake Burnham has more.
The late South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham will be honored at a ceremony in the Capitol Rotunda next Tuesday after unexpectedly passing from an aortic dissection. President Trump is expected to give a tribute at his funeral service at the Washington National Cathedral. The filing period to run for Graham's Senate seat is now open. Graham's sister, Darlene Graham Nardone, who was appointed by the South Carolina governor to fill her brother's seat for the remainder of this term, says she plans on running to succeed him.
And that South Carolina Republican primary is August 11th. Mitch McConnell's staff have declined to answer basic questions about what work he's doing. It's now 38 days after he was loaded into the back of an ambulance in D.C. and vanished from public view. His staff refused to even say if the senator had spoken to any of them in recent days. Now, McConnell had told a reporter recently that he was preparing to go back to work. But when staff there was confronted about those statements, they said they didn't have any comment on when McConnell may return. But they've done nothing to end this drip of whispers that some people, well, the conspiracy theories are, and maybe they're true, is McConnell is in a vegetative state, brain dead, or deceased, and the staff is covering it up. Staff also refused to give any comment on his cognitive state. The McConnell team's cover-up also has hit Kentucky. You have Governor Andy Beshear says he's in the dark about what's going on with Mitch McConnell. 522, President Trump, of course, recently accused China that last week in that speech of meddling in the 2020 election when he lost to former President Joe Biden. China denying the allegations, claiming to never have interfered in U.S. election and has no interest to do so. Now, the president says he has no plans to bring up these issues about China when the Chinese president comes to the U.S. in September.
It took place a long time ago. I think China is maybe a little bit different today than it was then. But look, they do things and we do things to them. I'll be honest. We do things to them, too. It's not a one-way street. But we'll be talking to them.
Chinese President Xi Jinping expected to visit the U.S. come September, and concerns have been raised about how that fraud allegation could impact the trip. Of course, again, China saying it never meddled in the U.S. elections. Former Olympian Davy Hearn set to go on trial September 28th. We have a date now, and that single count of destruction of property. Hearn is charged with vandalizing the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool by pulling up the inner liner. Hearn's defense attorney, Norm Eisen, warning again yesterday that this is a false allegation by the Trump White House.
This indictment reflects the administration's effort to scapegoat Davy and to shift blame for their own failures.
Now, White House officials allege he caused $1,000 in damage, and they're pursuing a felony charge that carries a maximum sentence of 10 years. 523, Tropical Storm Bertha set to slam into Louisiana. In fact, parts feeling it already. The coastline today, and flood-prone New Orleans is preparing, but they don't think they'll hit the direct eye of this thing. The city has a vast system of pumps, most which they say are working.
I take every small rainstorm as a test.
That's Randy Heyman, who heads the Sewage and Water Board. There it says all the pumping stations are going to get extra staff this week. New Orleans currently under a tropical storm watch. Heyman says all the pumping stations are ready to do what they're supposed to do.
We looked at our practices, and we made corrections.
All right, we'll be following that storm as the day goes on. Amid the cyclosporiasis outbreak, there are lawsuits being filed alleging food poisoning. This is sometimes people call it explosive diarrhea. Legal columnist Jenna Green says liability laws give plaintiffs an advantage in cases against some of these companies as they get ready to sue people who got sick.
The plaintiffs generally don't have to prove wrongdoing. They don't have to prove that the farmer or the manufacturer or the restaurant acted carelessly or intended harm, or even that they knew that something was wrong with the product. In almost all U.S. states, there's a standard called strict liability.
Now, there are some complaints against Taco Bell linked to the food poisoning outbreak, but then the FDA pulled back on that their supplier may not be behind it. A false positive on their lettuce and produce. The FDA says after further review, no samples of the iceberg lettuce grown in central Mexico have tested positive for the parasite. Now, more than 1,600 people have fallen ill. Those are the numbers of people who've gone to their doctors, but the numbers are really expected to be, or thought to be, a whole lot higher than that. 525, the federal government says it's going to withhold almost $1 billion in Medicaid for California over fraud concerns there. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. making the announcement yesterday.
We have a duty to stop the payments, demand answers, and then follow the evidence wherever it leads.
Now, the Trump administration says California has seen a huge spike in billing for in-home services, up 24% compared to a 12% jump across the rest of the nation. Governor Gavin Newsom posting on social media yesterday that the spike isn't about fraud, but it's about keeping seniors and people with disabilities out of nursing homes. He calls the fraud claims a political stunt by the White House.
Instead of protecting your money, they open the floodgates to theft. They dismantled basic program integrity and oversight.
RFK Jr. says the fix is quite simple.
If Governor Gavin Newsom or Governor Tim Walz wants this funding released, all they have to do is provide basic documentation showing that these services are legitimate and not fraudulent.
Minnesota also seeing money withheld because of fraud claims to the tune of over $200 million. 526, jury selection underway in the trial of a Massachusetts mother accused of killing her 3 young children. Correspondent Marty Hughes has more.
Lindsay Clancy pleaded not guilty to 3 murder charges in connection to the deaths of her 5-year-old daughter, 3-year-old son, and infant son. First responders found the children dead after responding to a 911 call from her husband in 2023, saying she had attempted suicide. That attempt left Clancy paralyzed. She appeared in court Monday in a wheelchair.
Her trial expected to last 6 to 8 weeks. Cleanup of that massive cold storage warehouse fire in Los Angeles continues to cause this huge stink in the neighborhood. It's been a little over a month since that fire, but they haven't been able to get to all that rotting food there, and the neighborhood just smells.
You cannot be outside. You have to be inside the house because it's terrible.
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass gave Lineage Logistics, which owns this warehouse, 45 days to clean up the entire site, but only about 4% of the total food waste has been removed so far. That's why it smells so bad in this Boyle Heights neighborhood.
I gave them a timeline of 45 days, but seeing the consequences of what is happening to the community, the compromising of the health and welfare of that community, frankly, 45 days is too long.
Yeah, state air regulators recently said Lineage must deliver a more robust approach to controlling the putrid smell coming from millions of pounds of rotting food that are still in that warehouse today.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour. Talking the news with Noam Laden. All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now, Talking the News with Noam on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Wednesday, July 22nd. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Clouds this morning. Peaks of sunshine this afternoon. The high going to be 86 tonight and overnight. Few clouds, low 66, and then Thursday sunshine, high 85. If you're walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are. It's 73 and cloudy in Great Neck out on Long Island. It's 70 and cloudy in Bloomingdale over in New Jersey. And it's 73 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time 5:42 last night. Mayor Mamdani backed down from his pledge and his campaign promise to arrest Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu on an international criminal court warrant in a video that he posted to his official X account. He listed a minute's worth of allegations against Netanyahu, and he said he explored all the city's options for derailing the prime minister.
Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, the architect of a horrific genocide against the Palestinian people. He is
By the way, do you notice the music in the background?
Responsible for the killing of more than 73,000 people, for the maiming of tens of thousands of children as those who survive undergo amputation without anesthesia, for the targeting of neonatal hospitals and maternity care centers.
All right, so he goes on and on. Netanyahu is expected in New York to attend the UN General Assembly in September. Now, Mayor Mamdani is part of this 2-minute speech that he put up on X last night, challenging the federal government to arrest Netanyahu because they're getting in the way of the mayor doing so.
My administration has reviewed every avenue available under applicable law to determine whether New York City could execute the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant if Benjamin Netanyahu came here. It is clear that we do not have the independent legal authority to enforce this warrant. The federal government, however, does, and I call on them to join the ICC and execute this warrant. And I want to be equally clear. Benjamin Netanyahu is not welcome in New York City, nor is any other war criminal at large.
Yeah, but the Prime Minister says he'll be here for the General Assembly come September. 543, those block-long homeless encampments on the west side of Manhattan continue to stir a whole bunch of controversy. Those who live and work in Hudson Yards, that's one of the most expensive areas of the city now, say the mayor promised them to do something to help the homeless and get them off the street there, but so far has done nothing.
He should move them along
families and offer them help, but move them along. They need to go someplace, but they shouldn't be camping on public ground.
Mayor Adams, you'll remember, made dismantling encampments a top priority of his administration. Mayor Mamdani has taken a different approach, centered on outreach, which so far has left a number of encampments. There's one West 44th Street, 47th Street, 12th Avenue, another one on 49th Street.
I feel like there could be something better than, figure out a better solution. Homeless shelters.
I mean, it's terrible. I think that, there needs to be some sort of solution for them so they can get housing.
Yeah, City Hall's plan to send outreach workers to the sites and give those living there a week to move or get shelter. That's what a notice says on some lamp poles there, that the camp will be dismantled come Monday. So we'll have to wait and see if that actually happens. 5:45. In a moment, we'll tell you about the latest Legionnaires' death and a battle over a Muslim boarding school on Long Island. But first, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, and here's Justin Eller.
Thank you, Noah Millett. Sports sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a dealer near you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best boilers. Out in Milwaukee, Zach Thornton earned his first career win by combining with 3 relievers on a 4-hitter as the Mets blanked the Brewers 4-0 to split the first 2 games of a 3-game set. Jared Young and Luis Robert Jr. homered for New York, with Robert's solo shot being his first since missing nearly 3 months with a back injury. And backed by terrific defense, Thornton allowed 3 hits and 1 walk while striking out 2 over 6 innings in his 4th major league start. It was the 2nd consecutive scoreless outing for the 24-year-old left-hander, who has thrown 18 straight shutout innings, the longest streak by a Mets rookie since Steven Matz went 19 innings in 2016. Luke Weaver, Brooks Raley, and Devin Williams each pitched 1 inning of relief. Up next for the Mets, Christian Scott will start against Brewers righty Logan Henderson in this afternoon's Rubber Game Series finale. First pitch from Milwaukee is scheduled for 2:10 p.m. In the Bronx, Yankees and Pirates got postponed last night and will play a day-night doubleheader today to make up for the washout. Garrett Cole will get the start in Game 1 against Pittsburgh righty Mitch Keller. It's set for a 1:05 p.m. first pitch from Yankee Stadium, in Game 2 scheduled for a 7:05 p.m. first pitch tonight, with the lefty Max Fried set to return from that left bone bruise in his left elbow. Set to come on back, start the nightcap against Pirates Bubba Chandler. And let's head to the NFL. We're sniffing it now. Training camp right around the corner. The Giants officially open their training camp on Tuesday of next week. Rookies, though, reporting earlier, starting tomorrow. As for the Jets, rookies will report on the 25th, followed by veterans reporting on the 28th. That is your sports sponsored by.
I saw some of them walking around Hoboken yesterday.
What?
Yeah.
Who?
Jackson Dart.
No, you didn't.
Yeah. I think it was yesterday. It was the day before.
What do you mean
yeah.
you just saw Jackson Dart walking around Hoboken?
A fair amount of the players live in that neighborhood around Hoboken, Jersey City, so he was hanging out.
It's just such a fantasy.
No.
You dreamed of this.
No, it was definitely him.
Did you walk up to him and say hello?
I did not. No,
Why not?
I left because he doesn't want to be bothered. Guy looked like he was going out for dinner or something.
Oh, come on. He's the type of guy that would take a picture with you, I think.
Yeah, but I'm not the kind of guy who's going to ask him for one.
Yeah, I guess. I would have. That doesn't sound right. Come on, Noam Layden.
Yeah.
Are you a real Giants fan or not?
I'm a huge Giants fan, but I don't need to have a picture with him.
You were alone?
No, it's with my wife.
Oh, okay. I was saying, if you're going to want to with one of your kids, then obviously you got to run up.
Then I would have done it, yeah.
Right, okay. All right. I guess you can be a grown man about it. That's fine. That's your sports, sponsored by P. Morgan of Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com, find a dealer near you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best boilers. I'm Justin Alex, 77 WABC.
You need to learn more from Justin what he would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You would ask him to go out for dinner, probably.
Well, when I saw Giannis Antetokounmpo in the street.
You stopped him?
Don't tell that one again.
Did he take a picture with you?
No.
Oh.
No. He said, I'm with my family. Yeah, I'm with my family, please.
Oh, he's with his family?
Yeah, his wife and children. He had a kid in a stroller, and I said, please, give me a second. I am Justin Ellick, the great Justin Ellick, and please, I would love a picture.
Right, and he's thinking, who's this lunatic that's stopping me and my family? I got to protect my family. So he said no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's walking down 3rd Avenue in New York City. I could have been anybody.
Right.
Justin, I can't read the room, Ellick.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Exactly. Couldn't read the room that day. That's for Giannis. Oh, my God, I'm Justin. Nice to see you again, my man. Anyway.
Again.
Take it away, Noam.
Well, I think you have a sponsor to do here.
Yeah. Oh, do I? I already did it like 3 times.
Did you do it?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Just making sure.
Yeah, take it away.
I want to make sure Pete's covered.
Please, for the love of God, just get me at it.
5:50. A 5th person has passed away in connection with the Legionnaires' outbreak on the Upper East Side. As of yesterday, 82 reported cases of Legionnaire's disease associated with the outbreak, which they told us was under control. That's higher than the day before, which was 76. 56 people have been discharged from the hospital after being treated, that according to the health department's website. Then you had City Council Speaker Julie Menon yesterday introducing a new set of bills aimed at improving public health. She says the city needed to act more quickly when they learned of this outbreak on the Upper East Side.
It's not the common cold. Someone can die, and 4 people did die, and we've 7 more people hospitalized, and we, hopefully they will be okay, but we don't know that. So this is, again, the type of situation where it pays off to be aggressive and proactive.
City Council expected to host an oversight hearing. That'll come September to address the city's response.
So the point of our legislative package and the point of the hearing is to try to tighten the oversight and to improve the level of communication. Just like during COVID, where you would get those daily updates and really information that most New Yorkers found, I think, very helpful.
And I was watching this yesterday, this press conference, Julie Menon, the City Council Speaker, saying that she was hearing from a lot of her constituents on the Upper East Side. They weren't told what to do. Should they go outside? Should they stay inside? If they don't feel good, what should they do?
This is something that affects New York City every single summer, so this was not a surprise. We knew that this was coming up. We're also very concerned that the council passed a whole suite of legislation, but it doesn't look like the compliance was where it needed to be.
No doubt this will be talked about during those hearings come September. 5:52, meanwhile, a widow who is announcing a lawsuit against the building following the death of her husband due to Legionnaire's disease. This is the Army lieutenant that we had told you about, Ida Goldstein. She spoke about the outbreak on the Upper East Side that claimed the life of her 88-year-old husband, Robert.
For 2 weeks, I sat by his side in the Lenox Hill ICU. I watched him suffer on life support every single day.
Now, Goldstein, I said he was a retired Air Force veteran, actually, and his widow claims he was in good health before he got sick. And so now she's suing the building owner, arguing that her husband's death could have been prevented if they had just cleaned those cooling towers.
I don't want to leave you. I love you so much for 50 years. To see him that way with all that machinery and lying there helpless, it just tears me apart.
And their family attorney, he says lab tests have already confirmed the connection between her husband and the building.
They match the DNA of the patient's culture to the DNA of the Legionella in the building.
Yeah, again, a 5th death announced overnight. 5:53, a community on Long Island mourning the death of a homeless man who was stabbed to death Monday afternoon. Locals in Medford remember the victim, 32-year-old Timothy Stark. This is one of these homeless individuals. Maybe you have somebody in your neighborhood who's like this, who is kind of known in the neighborhood. He was one of those guys.
How many homeless people do you know if something tragic happens to them, people go out of their way to drop flowers off for them?
Yeah.
I would say not many.
Once I saw the name, I was like, oh my gosh, I love that guy, and I'm very upset. We saw he wasn't here, and we are very upset. My daughter started to cry.
Yeah. Cops say 20-year-old Joseph Norton chased down Stark. This was about 3:30 p.m. and stabbed him in the back before driving away. Now, why did he do it? I don't know.
I don't understand what kind of animal would get out of their car and stab somebody like Timmy in their back. You got to have something severely wrong with you.
Animal might be the right description. His attorney, though, addressed reporters outside the courtroom.
Mr. Norton's presumed innocent. He's always presumed innocent. These charges are not convictions. I need everybody to remember that.
Yeah, but Suffolk County prosecutors say there were a lot of witnesses in 2 separate dash cam videos of the stabbing. 5:54, while we're out on Long Island, a former Catholic boarding school in Bayshore could soon get new life with a similar use. The United American Muslim Association reached an agreement to buy the 13-acre complex on South Saxon Avenue and turn it into an Islamic boarding school. Now, according to the buyers, the nonprofit wants to open the school to provide full-time Islamic schooling and early childhood education and community programs. This is a big campus. Now, last night, there was a packed town zoning board of appeals meeting. They would have to pass this for the school to open. And most of the people who showed up encouraging this town zoning board to weigh in on their variance application and to turn down this school. Now, here are some of the people who showed up at this meeting last night.
This is one case where that'll be a downgrade to the surrounding area and residents. I just don't think it's appropriate at this place and time.
The waterfront property sits south of a condominium community and west of several residential roads.
It's not appropriate. We don't want it here. Bring it somewhere else.
A community group says that their opposition is strictly a zoning issue. It's not clear when the zoning board will make their final decision. One with this one in New Jersey. About 400 non-citizens cast ballots illegally in New Jersey's election since 2023 after more than 6,000 were wrongly added to the Garden State's voter rolls. Governor Mikey Sherrill confirming this yesterday that there was some sort of voting snafu that stemmed from a software screw-up at the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission, which automatically registered around 6,600 non-Americans to vote between June 2023 and June 2024. Now, despite applicants for driver's license or ID cards indicating no on a keypad when they were asked if they were citizens, the system recorded them as eligible to vote anyway. Now, there were 400 people who did illegally vote out of those 6,600. They were registered as Democrats and Republicans and unaffiliated voters. They were scattered across the state. And Governor Sherrill says there's no evidence at this time that any of the elections were swayed one way or another by their votes.
It's unacceptable that the vendor released software with such a glaring error. It's unacceptable that the MVC took a year to get this issue fixed.
Sherrill says she's taking action, but she's also blaming the former governor. Phil Murphy says she didn't mention him by name. But she says it's unacceptable that no previous administration brought this to light. She says the minute she heard about it, she came forward with what she knew.
We're sending letters to the people impacted by this error, and we will remove anyone from the voter rolls who may have improperly registered.
Now, New Jersey's one of 23 states, along with the District of Columbia, that allows automatic voter registration through their Motor Vehicle Bureau, with the onus on residents to opt out.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?